All right, welcome back, everybody. Listen, we got a lot of things going on in Miami sports right now. The Panthers are in the playoffs. The Miami Heat are about to start their playoff run. But one of our own, she is going to be back in the cage coming up on Friday night. She's looking to go to 4-0. Master Valerie Loureda, Miami native. She is going to be fighting the Bellator card coming up this week. You guys can watch her on the Bellator YouTube page or the Showtime YouTube page on the Cyborg Leslie Smith card. Valerie Loureda, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here again.
It's good to have you. I feel like this has been, I don't want to call it a training camp, but in the lead up to this fourth fight, I feel like you've been, cut in training, showing some really hard sparring injuries, at least in the window that you've given us. Is that the case? Has this been a really hard lead up to this fourth fight?
Yeah, it's definitely wasn't what I expected after my last fight. Life happens, and I was preparing to fight in December, and I cut my eye really, really bad, and it was fine. I learned from that. It was the first time that have ever happened to me. It happened to be sparring, and now I know what it feels like for a fight. I took care of it, and then just Bellator signed with Showtime, so all the cards got moved to April. And when I went to fight in the beginning of April, then my grandfather got COVID in the hospital in Miami, gave it to my whole family. He ended up passing from COVID. So it's definitely been hard and a lot of life changes. But, I have to keep going regardless, and I have to represent my family. And, I've just been training hard for a very long time, and I feel like I'm just over prepared. I want to fight already and I want to get the weight over with. And, you know, I learned a lot and I grew from it, but I've been through a lot before my fights, and I've always grown and shown that I could deal with adversity. So I'm going to do the same this time around.
Yeah, I remember you saying that the last time that we spoke that you've been dealing with a lot of personal stuff and
Hmm.
is fighting, I guess, the best place for you to get away from all of that? Like, does it, like people say, like sometimes athletes that it is kind of a sanctuary. Do you find that to be the case, that when stuff's going really rough maybe in your life, that fighting always just kind of can put everything to the side with it?
Yeah, I mean, fighting has been the only thing consistent in my life since I was 2 years old. So to me, it's like my stress reliever. It's like my therapy. It's how I let out my aggression, my anger. We've had a very challenging upbringing, and a lot of things happen. And I've learned to like balance different aspects of my life. But if there's one thing that has always remained the same, is my love and my passion for fighting and the way it makes me feel. And that's why I'm still here today.
Did your grandpa did he like watching you fight? Like,
Yeah.
a moment of pride
He
for him?
was,
Like, how, I know you guys
yeah.
are kind of all the family. Like, what did it
Mhm.
what kind of tie
My,
did he have to that in your life?
my grandpa was the only one that loved like boxing and stuff. My dad's a Taekwondo instructor, but my grandpa was a fanatic of sports in general, and the Dolphins, etc. And after my last fight, my biggest pride and joy was that when I came home, like he just kept telling me, like I hit her con la derecha, like he was just so proud of me, and he was dyslexic too. But the fact that he understood what I did and that it was his granddaughter, that meant everything to me. And honestly, I really thought he would be here today. My grandpa was strong, and he got COVID in the hospital in Miami because he had something like simple, and he went into the hospital, gets COVID, and from there they didn't let him out. We picked him up one day, and then we all got COVID, and then he just started deteriorating. And you don't believe it until it happens to you and your family, and that's what happened to us. And it was even worse and more traumatizing because throughout the month and a half or two that he was sick in the hospital, they didn't let us be there with him, not even like 1 second, because he was in the COVID wing. But it was just so wrong, because if a doctor or nurse could go in there with their masks, their suits, etc., they should allow at least one family member to be tested and go in there with him, and be able to like help him eat and like give him like some sort of life. Like they just let him die in there, man. And they only let us see him. Literally, they called me at American Top Team. My mom called me, Valerie, Chucho's dying. Like, he's bad. And I ran an hour north straight to South Miami, and I brought in my glove and I put it on his chest. I go, Chucho, just, I'm sorry I couldn't be here for you. This is the world right now. And we just had to let him die and just move on. And it's just it's disgusting. It's heartbreaking. I could talk about this for hours, but very traumatic. But I know he's with me in in heaven, and he's watching over me, and he's gonna protect me in my fights. And I just have a lot of energies working for me, and he's one of the main ones.
It's strange to move on to something as simple as just the fighting after that, because that's I know it could that sounds like it's been really painful for you.
It's just wrong. Like, it's inhumane to not let you spend time with a family member who's dying. Like, it's wrong.
This is this the first time you've gotten a chance to fight with a number next to you, with the ranking? The Bellator, they busted out the rankings a little bit. Is that cool for you? Like, I know that you got big aspirations. Is it put anything in a perspective as far as your career is concerned, that I got a number next to me now, the ladder kind of seems there to where I can go and get the flyweight title?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that, I was honored because, it's showing me that people see my potential, and it's giving me credibility as a mixed martial artist, right? And that's what I want. People know, like, people talk about this and that on Instagram, but deep down, like, they know there's something different about me. And I know that they see that, and I know they feel it because I know what I have inside me. But yeah, definitely. I'm also 22 years old and I have 3 fights in. So I also have to, like, get experience the same way everybody has, in a fair way, right? And with my coaches, what they say. But I'm really excited to be in that ladder. I'm not going down. I'm going to keep moving up, and I'm going to beat everyone there. It's just a matter of time, patience, and experience.
What have you felt that you've gotten a lot better at since the last time we saw you? What's the thing you're most proud of that you've improved upon?
I mean, every fight, I train so hard. Like, I swear, I train like if I'm in a camp almost every day, like 2 times a day. But this time around, yes, I developed in my jiu-jitsu, my takedown defense, all of that, like, every time I do. But I really worked hard on my mental. And I really did a good job at focusing on meditation, being my affirmations, like my confidence, like not letting the more I fight, the harder it gets, because the more eyes that are watching me, but I did this to myself. I chose to debut for Bellator when I was 19 years old, fighting professionally. So with that comes consequences. You have to learn to deal with it. And I believe that the fact that I've mastered my mentality now at 22 years old is just going to make me that much stronger for the rest of my career. So I worked a lot on my mental, my peace, like my breathing, and it's just carried over into my training, and I'm just super prepared. Like, I know I'm prepared. I was born for this, and I'm ready to fight.
I saw on social media, so you got a chance to mingle with Chad Ochocinco. He came down
Yes.
to your gym. Old Sweet Feet. He's ready to step into the ring. Apparently, that's coming on up. Did you give him any tips? Any tips on fighting? Is he ready to handle this himself?
Yeah. I mean, we did a little face off and stuff. He looks good, man. Like, I was training, and he was training there a little with me, but I'm excited to see him. That man is super athletic, and anything he does, it's incredible. So yeah, I'm excited to see how he does. I want to be there after I fight. God willing, I win. I want to go, and I want to see him and support Miami.
Miami's been I mean, you've definitely seen this, because I see you even like in every show, the regional shows and all that type of stuff. Like, Miami is on a different map since it's been a more open state. Like, it's like every event is coming down here now.
Yes.
What have you made of that as a native of this city and a fighter from this city? Have you liked seeing that finally Miami's getting some run of holding these big time events?
Well, let me tell you something. I love Miami. Miami's popping, and there's nowhere in the world like Miami. Now everybody's moving to Miami because we're lit right now, and the problem with that is that I'm trying to buy my property, and like, there's no houses on the market. Like, they put a house that I like, and in seconds it's off the market. I'm like, what's going on? Everybody's moving here from New York, from Los Angeles. Like, it's crazy to me. So I don't know, like, Miami is my place. I get a little like territorial,
possessive.
But I'm excited that all the events are happening here. This is my hometown. At the end of the day, I'm the only Cuban American woman born and raised in Miami representing our city.
Do you is that like a big dream one day to have an event down here where you're
Yes.
showcasing it?
one day I'm gonna headline the American Airlines Arena. I'm gonna sell it out, and it's gonna be spectacular. I promise you. And I'm gonna make the whole crowd dance with me.
Well, listen, you definitely put Miami on the map, and you're in a way that I know that the fans really appreciate, and you're hardcore. Like we see at all the Dolphins games. Are you excited for year two? Like they got Tua Tagovailoa coming back. They had a good season last year, an excited draft. Like, are you excited for this upcoming season after what they had a good year last year?
They did really well last year, you know. So I just think the Dolphins are going up, and I love going to those games, and I love representing Miami sports, and even with the Heat, last time when I fought, all the Heat players were literally watching my fight in their bubble or whatever, and it was so cool because like I was like, damn, all of our like sports teams support one another. And then it's like Valerie, the little girl MMA fighter, and they all hit me up. They all reach out to me and we're all like friends. And, I go to their games and stuff. Cause at the end of the day, like athletes love MMA.
Yeah.
Like actually athletes, celebrities, like everybody is obsessed with what we do. And for me, it's like weird because I've been doing this since I was a baby. I'm like, what do you find cool about this? It's just like combat violence, but people love it. So the fact that like I'm a little girl from Miami and I do this, like they love it. I'm like, all right, well, I'll teach you how to box. I guess I'll kick you hard, but don't cry,
Is it? Wait, hold on. So you've had athletes who want to get kicked, like they want to feel like what that combat stuff is like.
Everybody wants to spar. Everybody wants to learn to box. I'm like, chill. You really don't want to, like. All these football players are like, "Oh, I want to fight." I'm like, no, you don't know what fighting is. Like, fighting is like, it's not like, I don't know how to explain. They think it's just like a game. Like fighting is it's violent, right? It's different. Like, oh, or they just want to box and they go, okay, let's spar. Only boxing, no kicks. I'm like, no, but that's not fighting. MMA is kicks. You have to learn how to defend the kicks. Like, but yeah.
Well, go check out Valerie Loureda. She's coming up. She's fighting the next Bellator card. It's you can check her out on the Showtime YouTube page, and Bellator. She's going to be on the prelims. Looking to go to 4-0. Valerie, best of luck. Thank you so much for always giving us time. We appreciate it. We'll be rooting for you, and we're looking forward to the show.
No, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here. Represent Miami. Let's do this.